This being your third season, it seems like you've been a lot more assertive or spicy this year.
Think so? I'm not really spicy. That's good. I mean, I feel like for me, it's just my approach. It's just coming in and just trying to be dominant in anything the team needs. And so if that gives off spicy, which I really don't think it does, I feel like I'm like kind of quiet. Spice? No, I just not spicy. But yeah, I feel like that's just been my mindset, is just coming in and just being the player that I need to be for us. Whatever that looks like, it looks like.
What is the connection between a playoff berth, a bruising blowout, and a locker room mantra? Everything for the Indiana Fever. Their triumph over the Washington Mystics, 94-65, wasn't merely a win. It was a combination of defiance and survival. In the midst of it all, Aliyah Boston said something that has fans asking for more information and teammates talking. What was it she said? And why, despite the absence of their star player Caitlin Clark and 4 other injured players, is Indiana's mentality enabling them to go to the playoffs? There's more to this than simply basketball, so stay put. Go to comment Fever Playoffs if you're excited about the postseason.
Come on.
Playoffs! Dubs! So we clinch, baby! We can't!
W.
Playoffs!
Bow!
Yeah! Playoffs, baby!
Mitchell in transition. Lays that up and in for our first bucket of the game. Sims off the cross again into the paint, lays it up and in.
How is it possible for a playoff team to survive after losing half of its rotation? That is the Indiana Fever's season-long narrative. The roster was devastated, not merely hit. After just 13 games, Caitlin Clark, the sophomore phenom who is expected to guide this club into a new era, was sidelined due to a torn groin. After suffering a knee injury, Sophie Cunningham left. Chloe BBY finished a knee injury. Sydney Coulson did not play. Ari McDonald had a foot injury towards the end. 5 contributors' identities were removed from the image. Most teams fail when that many key players leave. This became a test for Indiana.
When you think back to the beginning of the season, if someone were to tell you, like, this is where you would be, this is your team, like, at the end of the season, like, genuinely, what do you think the reaction would be?
Probably no stinking way. I don't think, thinking back to the beginning of the season, that anyone would have ever foreseen it going like this.
The blow that hit Clark the hardest was his injury. With her playmaking standards and average of more than 16 points per game, Fever supporters began to believe that the postseason was not only conceivable, but also inevitable. You could feel the shockwave going around the basketball world as well as throughout Indiana when it was announced that she would be out for the season. The question that fans who had crowded Gainbridge Fieldhouse were left with was how this club could possibly be competitive without its best player. Analysts gathered to declare that the Fever's hopes of making the playoffs were lost.
Even if things looked like it got harder, for us it was about sticking together, and I think through everything you're able to see that, us play with joy, us play together regardless of who's on that floor.
It wasn't just Clark, either. Due to the frequent influx of hardship signings, Indiana appeared to be more of a moving train that individuals were attempting to board than a team that was steady. At some point, 18 different players have taken the pitch. Imagine taking a team photo at the beginning of the year and discovering midway through that practically all of the faces have been replaced. Shaw Petty entering minutes, Odyssey Sims soaring in, and Aerial Powers staking out a part. It was more about survival than planning, and survival rarely leads to a postseason run.
For whatever reason, things happen, and you've got to continue to put your best foot forward. You got to continue to stay the course. This group has been forced to grow strong roots, and teams can go one of two ways when those things happen. You either use it to pull you together and as motivation to continue to get better and do it for one another and do it for your teammates that have been lost to injury, or it pulls some teams apart.
That's where Stephanie White's leadership made the difference. She didn't panic even after her roster was destroyed. She made rotations more efficient, streamlined the system, and encouraged players to concentrate on the foundation. White even acknowledged that in order to make the most of what they had, the team needed to think creatively. She was aware that it would be a mistake to downplay the hardship. Rather, she leaned into it, reminded her squad of their mental and physical toughness, and the players did the same.
When I look at this group, I'm just so incredibly thankful for the type of people that we have in this locker room, for the way that they have been able to continue to stay the course and bounce back and stay together, to pull for one another, to really be flexible enough to make space for different types of teams that we've had throughout the course of the year, and to continue to put ourselves in position.
By August, uncertainty was replaced by something else: tenacity. This team's secret weapon turned into what was meant to be its undoing. Not a star to rely on? No issue. All of the women on the roster developed the ability to carry the burden. What began as a necessity became their identity, that next woman up motto. And the tenacity they had been forced to exhibit throughout the season eventually erupted into supremacy once they carried it into Washington.
Inside Howard, off the window, the bucket, and the foul. Heady three, knocks it down again. Lost the handle, gets it back, gets right to the hoop, and she drops it home.
Fever 94, Mystics 65. Indiana's in. And now you know, despite all the adversity, this incredibly resilient Fever team is going back to the playoffs in 2025.
How does one transform sadness into a demolition of 29 points? On the road against the Washington Mystics, the Indiana Fever discovered the solution, and it manifested as a victory so decisive that it seemed less like a basketball match and more like a statement to the league as a whole. This victory wasn't a random one. It was the one that guaranteed a trip back to the postseason and demonstrated that this team has several sources of motivation, even in Caitlin Clark's absence. In the first half of the game, it didn't appear to be a blowout. Indiana was forced to trade buckets and take hard looks after Washington's impressive performance. Snug. Early on, the Fever's offense wasn't clicking. Additionally, there was a hint of that uneasy tension in the air, if you had been observing. With Clark, Cunningham, McDonald, BBY, and Carlson all on the sidelines, the Mystics had momentum, and the question was legitimate. Would this be the type of night that eludes Indiana, or could it hold its own?
And more than anything, y'all, big picture-wise, this group, there would have been so many teams that would have folded with all we've been through. And we just kept getting better, and we kept getting tougher, and we kept becoming more resilient, and we kept figuring things out, right? Like, we've had like 7 new teams throughout the course of this season. and no matter what, we've been flexible, we've been accountable, we've put each other in positions to be successful, and we've continued to put one foot forward and stayed the course.
It was competitive at the half, but by the third quarter, everything had completely changed. The defensive lockdown by the Fever did more than only stall Washington. They were overwhelmed by it. During that entire session, the Mystics only scored 9 points.
9.
It's more than just a cold streak. That has almost completely shut down basketball. It felt like every lane was broken. Each game is disputed. Indiana appeared to be the more hungry team on both ends all of a sudden. After that, the lead grew rapidly, surpassing 20 and 25 before reaching its maximum of 33 points.
You just don't know what she's going to do. I mean, she's so crafty with her shot decisions. Howard right to the hoop, high out the window. And she's slicing through that paint. Aims for back tap, and it ends up with aerial powers. Inside Howard, off the window, the bucket, and the foul by the rookie all-star Sonia Citron. Howard quickly back the other way tonight, back at 33, knocks it down again. Flip it. He's just such a solid stabilizer for Washington. Howard right to the hoop, lays it up and in. Fourth foul on Austin. Boston down low, double tongue, drops back to Howard, who lays it up and in.
The individual plays conveyed the rest, but the numbers revealed a story. At the precise moment that Indiana needed Natasha Howard, she stepped up, scoring a career-high 17 points and pounding Washington whenever she had a chance to get close to the hoop.
Craves in there. Get off and get loose. Mitchell 3 off the mark. Long rebound ends up with Sims. It's Sims. Nice pocket pass. Boston foul line jumper.
Aliyah with another double-double, 12 points and 11 rebounds. Boston restored her consistent domination, allowing Indiana to limit the damage on both ends.
Got that rebound. Here's Powers. Lost the handle, gets it back, gets right to the hoop. There she drops it home. 8 on the shot clock here for Citron. So 3 screen that. And then they got the switch they want. Oh, couldn't get it in. Tough turnover there for Washington. The loose ball collected by Dolson, and Citron brings it over half. Powers in the passing lane. No one to beat. Lays it up and in. See if they can get back to that and connect plays and stack possessions with that level of effectiveness.
And Aerial Powers came off the bench with 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists right when it looked like the Fever would need to score more points to win the game, resembling the spark plug that would not allow the energy to drop.
Of finishing plays. Here's Paul, guarded by Citron. Hanging, fading, kicks off the glass. My goodness. Be better served. Maybe 4 out, 1 in, and have him take turns with it. Oh. Clips and 3.
From then on, the gifts kept coming. Lexi Hall was everywhere on the floor, harassing ball handlers, diving for loose balls, and converting defensive plays into transitional opportunities.
Sims is also back for the Fever. Here's Petty in the corner. Who knocks it down? And Shea Petty also spent time here.
They had perfect shooting from Shea Petty, who finished with 13 points after making 3 straight from beyond the arc. Each role player that entered the game left their mark when they left.
Alicia Clark and Jade Seamless with the philosophy and culture and playing with joy as being the top tier point of emphasis there. Mitchell in transition lays that up and in for our first bucket of the game.
Kelsey Mitchell managed to score 10 points and keep the backcourt stable despite having a poor shooting night. 5 Fever players had reached double figures when you checked at the box score afterwards. Although the WNBA doesn't often have that balance, the situation called for it.
I'm so proud of you guys. I mean, this was, we owned them in the second half. Hell yeah! 27 total points we had them to in the second half. 27 points off of turnovers?
Hell yeah!
And we took care of it, only 7 turnovers for us.
Woo!
A complete team effort, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in double figures. I mean, it was just all really good stuff. Really good stuff.
The turnover struggle, statistically speaking, sealed Washington's doom. Indiana converted the 22 times the Mystics coughed up the ball into 27 points. Washington never had a chance to regain momentum because the Fever only gave it away 6 times during the evening. They were outscored by Indiana, but that wasn't all. It was the way they took advantage of almost every error to sap the Mystics' last remaining hope.
Aliyah, just through the adversity that you guys went through this season, especially maybe in August when people were going down left and right, did you guys feel like this was always possible to make the playoffs? Did you ever have moments of concern or doubt? And what allowed you guys to just keep, the eyes on the prize more or less? Yeah, I think, just being someone in this locker room, you never doubt yourself and what you're capable of, no matter what happens. I think the entire staff up to the head just made great decisions when people went down on who to bring in, the type of people to bring in. And that was really our mindset. We never doubted ourselves. We never doubted that we could be in the playoffs. Even if things looked like it got harder, for us, it was about sticking together. And I think through everything, you're able to see that, us play with joy, us play together, regardless of who's on that floor.
Now that their star is observing in street clothes, who does this squad turn to? That response is beginning to form. However, it's not a single name. One player has emerged as the embodiment of this team's new rhythm. Aliyah Boston has taken center stage. She may be the anchor this group needs more than ever, as seen by her remarks following the victory, which locker room slogan caused fans to applaud and teammates to buzz. After that playoff-winning victory in Washington, all you had to do was listen to Aliyah Boston. She spoke and played with greatness, and her rebounds are as powerful as her words.
Likes to get into their offense. You see Jade Melvin getting that defensive assignment on Mitchell. She picked her up pretty much 3/4 court. Boston baseline jumper falls. That's the advantage with Mitchell guarding her. 11-0 run right now for Washington. Boston got that baseline, misses, gets her own. And finish.
Boston's composure and polish have always been well known. However, she's doing something completely different this season. The franchise record was broken when she recorded her 17th double-double of the year against the Mystics. She has now amassed 41 career double-doubles in just 2 seasons. To put that into context, even by itself, that consistency is remarkable. Her output, however, became the lifeline during a season when the roster appeared to be a plague of ailments. With 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists at the end of the game, she led the team in plus-minus at plus 29. Although the figures may seem insignificant, when she was on the floor, the Fever gave their best effort.
How would you describe the locker room after the game today, just being able to sell?
Well, we did make a TikTok, so I think everyone is just super excited. Like you said, it hasn't been a perfect road. And so for us, it's enjoying the little moments while at the same time understanding we have another game on Tuesday and then we have to prepare for the playoffs. But I think just being in the moment and being where our feet are and kind of just enjoying this.
This was more than merely swapping out the scoring in Clark's absence. Anyone can search for additional points. Boston had to take on the role of the team skeleton, the constant pulsation that kept the heart beating. She moved the ball with swift, decisive passes that gave her teammates easy looks, chased down missed shots, and anchored the paint against Washington's drives. She became the focal point of the Fever's identity in addition to being the center in position.
Got a piece of glass for the finish there. Boston seal inside, comes right back for the finish.
Imagine the mood in the locker room following that outburst. Still recovering from the rush of a playoff victory, everyone is perspiring. Colleagues gathered, giggling, relieved, but also overcome with emotion due to the difficult journey. Caitlin Clark is on the sidelines observing. Sydney, Chloe, Ari, and Sophie are all confined to their recuperation. Here, however, Boston rallies the team with remarks as forceful as her headline. "Never doubt yourself and what you're capable of," she advised her teammates. It was more than simply words. They played as though they really believed it, as you could see. Lexi Hall is diving for items on the floor. She felt lights coming from deep within, like power emanating from the bench, instantaneous power. They were propelled ahead by that phrase, which turned into an invisible hand. Her sentiments were later echoed on social media by fans who felt the same way. All of a sudden, Boston wasn't the only reminder. It served as a call to action. Despite the overwhelming odds, don't doubt this team's abilities. However, her impact extends beyond just one statement and the box score. After celebrating something as significant as their first postseason appearance since 2016, a younger team may become distracted. However, Boston swiftly reverted to her leader role after responding with a giggle when asked about the atmosphere in the locker room. "Well, we did make a TikTok." She clarified that everyone was really excited but emphasized that preparation was still needed for the upcoming game and the playoffs. It's uncommon to find happiness and business together. It demonstrated her ability to strike a balance between the seriousness of the task and the fun of the moment.
We ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. Okay, we got another one on Tuesday, and in the playoffs, ain't nobody gonna want to see us. Nobody. No one is gonna want to see us. That's right. Nobody. I'm not gonna sing it, but yes. Okay. So we continue to focus on competing to the standard, preparing to the standard. All right, and then we scare the hell out of this league. Hell yeah. Come on. Here we go. Hell yeah. 3, 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah.
Aliyah Boston is demonstrating that she is more than just a budding celebrity. She is the steadying presence, the voice, and the anchor. Boston is the cornerstone that keeps the home together, if Caitlin Clark is the spark that attracts attention. And as the team advances into the postseason, the perseverance and faith she instills aren't only for this week. They're forming a culture that may endure for years to come. This is the query that nobody is posing. Could it be that Indiana's injury season was the best thing that could have happened to them? Looking in from the outside, everything seemed like a catastrophe. Their star was out, 5 players suffered season-ending injuries, and the roster changed almost every week. Nevertheless, they are locked into the 7th slot, making their first consecutive postseason participation since 2015 and 2016, and they still have a chance to move up to 6th place, contingent on how things turn out.
I feel proud. I feel proud of these women and what they've been able to continue to do. I feel proud that we continue to raise the standard for ourselves and for one another. But I'm also, I look at this group and the roots that have been grown throughout the course of this season, and thinking about, not just where we are now and the opportunity that we have in the playoffs, but where we're going to be in the future.
18 different players wore Fever jerseys during the season. In the end, the revolving door created a roster that allows anyone to play significant minutes without missing a beat. Shea Petty and Lexi Hull took on roles no one had anticipated. Veteran steadiness was supplied by Aerial Powers and Natasha Howard. Aliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell are now key choices with postseason experience rather than backups. In a sense, Caitlin Clark's absence allowed her teammates to advance into more senior positions. And when she does come, she enters a locker room that will already be infused with championship DNA in 2026. The narrative reversed. Everyone believed that Indiana's injuries would cause them to fail, but instead they created a playoff-ready team that now appears more dangerous than when they were healthy. The Fever was put to the test in unexpected ways this season. They were taken down by injuries, but they were not weak. It was faith, grit, and depth. Indiana is in the playoffs and has a winning record for the first time since 2015. Evidence of the authenticity of the identity created under duress. Instead of focusing only on survival, fans should view this as the beginning of a new chapter. The postseason has arrived and things are moving quickly, and the base is more solid than before. And it raises a significant query. What will happen when they are fully recovered if this is what they can accomplish with half a roster? Go to Comment Fever Playoffs if you're excited about the playoffs. Turn on all notifications, like, and subscribe to ensure you don't miss anything. After you click the video on the screen, we'll talk in the next.